They spoke to you as if you were smaller, as if your presence was something they needed to manage, correct, or contain, as if the way they talked to you could decide who you were allowed to be. But the truth is, their tone has never held the authority they hoped it did. Their voice cannot shrink you. It can only reveal the smallness inside them. Yet still, there's a reason it hurts, a reason your body reacts before your mind does, a reason your chest tightens and your voice feels trapped behind a wall you didn't build as an adult. It's because the tone they used sounds like an echo of the one you grew up with. This is what childhood emotional neglect feels like. In adulthood, not loud pain, not obvious wounds, but subtle moments where someone's tone awakens an old version of you. The version who learned that being quiet was easier than being seen. The version who learned that speaking up had consequences, but shrinking kept the peace. You didn't choose that lesson, you survived it. And now, when someone talks down to you, that survival script wakes up again. This is why the sting is never just about the present moment. It's the weight of all the moments in the past where you weren't comforted, weren't understood, weren't emotionally held. Most people think disrespect hurts because of the words, but for those who grew up emotionally alone, the pain comes from the familiarity of it. It feels like returning to a childhood you never got to leave behind. But here is the truth. Stoicism wants you to remember. No one, not then, and not now, has the authority to define the whole of who you are. Once you understand this, their words lose their power over you, loses its grip on your identity. Their tone stops feeling like a threat and becomes simply a reflection of their own upbringing, their own insecurities, their own unhealed story. When someone talks down to you, your body reacts first. Heat, tension, a sudden flash of wanting to defend yourself. Or sometimes, that old familiar phrase, the silence you learned as a child, to avoid being misunderstood, or punished, or dismissed. This is not weakness. This is conditioning. This is the emotional muscle memory of a child who didn't have adults, who knew how to speak with care. So now, as an adult, the work is not to silence the reaction. It is to understand it, because the fastest way to lose your calm is to try to prove you still have calm. So you pause, not because you're powerless, but because you are powerful enough to interrupt the old script. The pause is where you step out of childhood and into adulthood. The pause is where you choose not to abandon yourself again. In that quiet moment, you reclaim the authority that nobody gave you growing up. You tell your nervous system, I'm here now. I can protect us. We don't have to shrink anymore. Before we continue, welcome to Inner Stoic, a place where you return to your center, rebuild your self-worth, and learn how to carry yourself in ways your childhood never taught you. If you're here, you're already breaking generational patterns. Michael's story is a familiar one. He walked into a meeting prepared, strong, clear, but halfway through, a senior colleague interrupted him. Let me explain it in a way everyone can understand. People laughed in that uncomfortable way that tells you they felt something too, but won't say a word. Michael felt something collapse inside him, not because he doubted his intelligence, but because that moment pulled him back into childhood, where adults corrected him instead of guiding him, dismissed him instead of understanding him. His instinct was to defend himself quickly, prove his worth, earn back the space he had before the interruption. But instead, he paused. He remembered something. People who belittle others are revealing their own emotional neglect, their own childhoods without safety, without patience, without warmth. Their superiority is just camouflage. So Michael let him speak. Let him over-explain. Let him try to appear bigger, because calm people do not need to prove size. When it was his turn again, Michael simply said, "Thank you for adding to it," and continued. After the meeting, 3 people approached him. "I noticed how you handled that. That was real composure. Calmness doesn't hide your power. It exposes it. But to stay calm, you must understand the deeper truth. You're not actually reacting to the person in front of you. You're reacting to all the people who once spoke to you like that, when you had no defense. When someone talks down to you today, your mind asks, is this about me? But the Stoic lens answers, no, it's about them. Their tone reveals who they are. Your reaction reveals who raised you, and neither has the right to define your future. Arrogance is rarely confidence. It is usually the voice of a child who never felt enough. Once you see this, the life you're trying to build becomes easier to protect, because you stop confusing other people's wounds with your worth. Nothing activates the ego like condescension. The ego wants to fight, wants to correct, wants to restore balance. But you don't need to win the moment to win your life. Instead, you detach, you breathe, you tell yourself quietly, I will not repeat the childhood where I stayed silent or exploded in fear. But choose differently now. Let's gather the heart of this. Someone talking down to you only has power if it reconnects you to the child who couldn't protect themselves, but you. You're not that child anymore. When it's time to speak, you speak not to attack, but to protect your boundary. Your voice doesn't need to be loud. It just needs to be yours. You look at them, steady, clear, and say, I hear what you're saying, but speak to me as an equal. Or, if there's something to discuss, we can do it with respect. Or, I won't continue this conversation. In that tone, these are not confrontations. They are reparenting moments. Moments where you give yourself the protection you never received growing up. Sarah learned this in the hardest way. She worked in hospitality. A customer mocked her, speaking slowly, like she couldn't understand. Her chest tightened, not from the words, but from the memory of adults who spoke to her that way when she was small and didn't know how to fight back. But now, she knew. She inhaled, she rooted herself, and she said softly, I can help you with anything you need, but please speak to me normally. No anger, no shaking, just clarity. The man froze because his power depended entirely on her silence, not his voice. Epictetus said, no one can harm your soul without your permission. Growing up, you didn't have a choice, but now you do. Disrespect can reach your ears. It cannot reach your identity unless you open the door. So make this vow quietly for yourself. No matter how someone speaks to me, I will not let their behavior rewrite the story I hold about myself. Calm is the adulthood you choose when childhood did not protect you. Calm is the boundary you build around the child you were. Calm is what happens when you stop handing over your worth to the loudest voice in the room. When someone talks down to you, you have three choices: absorb it, react to it, or rise above it. Stoicism teaches the third, not because you're pretending to be unbothered, but because you're learning to become the adult your younger self needed. You rise because you refuse to shrink anymore. You rise because your worth is not negotiable. You rise because calm is your strongest language. If today's message reached a part of you that needed to be understood, share your thoughts in the comments. Send this to someone rebuilding their worth, and follow in a Stoic for grounded clarity. Every day, your calm is your power.